Hi, my name is Lexi Jong, and thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm going to go over my thoughts on some products that I have tried from Fenty Beauty. So this was my first foray into the brand, and I just purchased a few things to test out. And I purchased 3 of the cream blushes. I have Cool Berry, Strawberry Dip, and Petal Poppin'. So I have those and the lip gloss in Fussy. And then I also tried the new mascara. I purchased the mini size of that, and it's available for purchase in mini or full size. And yeah, so far, let's go over my thoughts. All right, I'm going to start out with the cream blushes. So this here is shade number 9, Cool Berry. And here it is. So here's the Cool Berry swatched, and I buffed out the end so you can see what it would look like applied more sheerly. And let's move on to number 5, Strawberry Dip. And this is going to be a warm, bright pink shade. Again, let's just sheer this out. And this is the one I have on my cheeks right now. And I do have clips of each of these when I'm applying them, so you can see them on my face. That helps. All right. And then last but not least, we have number 2, Petal Poppin'. And Petal Poppin' is going to be a little bit warmer, and it's also a little bit more like a warmer bubblegum pink than Strawberry Dip. Strawberry Dip is actually brighter and slightly cooler toned. So you can see where they're sheared out. Petal Poppin' is definitely going to be the lightest, and it gives a really nice flush to the cheek. Strawberry Dip, I think, just gives a little bit more color, and Cool Berry is a really pretty plummy shade. I like all of the colors that I purchased, and I wore these for an entire week, so I could kind of test out the formula and different application methods. So I have tried applying them in several different ways. I've used a brush dipped straight in here, making a palette on my hand and using a brush to apply it, or my fingers. And I've also used my fingers straight in, kind of dot it and pat it in. And for me, my favorite application with these was the finger method. I think it does give a nice flush with the brush as well. And if you're working with something like Petal Poppin', which is really light and sheer, using the brush, that worked totally fine. But when I'm working with like Cool Berry, which is a little bit deeper, and I want to be a little bit more precise with the area of application, I thought using my fingers was a little bit easier. And with such a deep shade, I wanted to kind of sheer it out more. And I felt like when I was using a brush with that shade, I started to kind of shift some of the foundation underneath it. So I just prefer tapping it on instead with those shades, and they sheer out beautifully. Now, I do wear these very, in a sheer application, and as such, they don't dry down to like a powder finish, but honestly, you can't feel them. There's no tackiness or stickiness when you sheer them out. If you have a deeper complexion and you are not shearing them out this much, they have more of a balmy texture to your skin, so it's not sticky, but there is that like moisture level to it, and it gives a little bit of a dewy look to your face. So the compact, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of people have commented on the small size of these. These are 3 grams. That's actually, I don't think that's that bad, especially for a cream product, because, they only have a limited shelf life, and you don't want a lot of bacteria and so forth getting into these. So you don't want to keep a cream product around forever. So I'd rather have something small that I am sure to use up. Now, one thing, would be nice is if they had, if these were refillable, and as far as I know, they are not currently, and I don't believe there are any plans for refills. But that would be a nice, you know, a nice move for the line, especially since they are what most people consider to be a smaller size blush, but you know, I'm totally fine with the size. There is a mirror at the top and it is a plastic compact. Now, would you carry this around in your purse? Some people might, but I wouldn't recommend it because honestly, if you're going to apply this with your fingers, you want to make sure you're using clean fingers. So you're not going to just pull this out of your purse and just like put it on somewhere without washing your hands. And because it is a creamy, balmy texture, you know, there's a lot of like fibers and hairs and so forth that can get stuck in here and get it kind of like gunky. So I wouldn't recommend that. So I keep them specifically with my makeup so that, you know, when I use them, I'm making sure everything is very clean and as hair-free as possible. But if you've got a lot of pets around and so forth, I have seen a lot of people comment about how, you know, how kind of yucky they get because of pet hair and so forth getting in them. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend them in that case. Tracy from the Little Makeup channel actually recently did a review using the cream bronzer, which has a very similar or same formula as these, and she had some thoughts on the pet hair as well. So, you know, if you're interested, I'll leave her video linked down below, and I would recommend checking that out. And yeah, overall, texture-wise, I like the texture of these. I think they are really easy to sheer out. I like how they have a wide variety of colors to choose from, and they have some really fun-looking colors too that I didn't pick up, but you know, for people who are a little bit more daring, they'd be a lot of fun. And you know, I think this is a great way if you are not somebody who is into cream blushes. It's a great way to kind of test them out because they are not super expensive, in my opinion, at least. I mean, they're not as cheap as drugstore, but they're $20. And I feel like, you know, that's not too bad to test a product out. And yeah, so overall, I recommend these, especially if you want to just kind of play around with colors and textures. But are they my favorite cream blushes? They are not. So, yeah, stain wise though, I have to say the stain power on those was great. So I tested them for full day tests, and I also went outside on hot, humid days where I'm like sweating, and I did have like some of the product did like fall, like slide down my cheek a little bit when I was like sweating, but it actually stayed on. It didn't go away. So the color was still there later. And, you know, I felt like the staying power of them was really great. I just feel like, for me personally with a cream blush, I like how they can sheer out, but I feel like these sheer out very, very easily, which is great, but you kind of then have to build the color back up to the point you want. And I don't really want it to stay that balmy texture because I feel like it doesn't really stay in place as well when you have it, you know, thicker. So you really do need to kind of layer the application. And I don't know, it's just, I like them. They're just not my favorite. So would I purchase more colors? I think 3 is good. If I only had 1, I probably would purchase a couple more to test it out, but I think I'm good with the 3 that I have. So I am happy I tried them, and I will be using them. And, you know, I think they're fun to play around with, and I like mixing the colors too. So, personally, I really like mixing, well, I've mixed all of them, but I really like mixing the Cool Berry with the Strawberry Dip. Out of these 3 colors that I purchased, my favorite shade is the Strawberry Dip. So I just felt like it was, Petal Poppin is a really great, you know, soft pink, very natural looking, but it's also very ordinary in my opinion. And I think Strawberry Dip just has a little bit more pizzazz to it, brightens up my cheeks a little bit better. And, you know, I don't know, I like the brightness of it. I feel like it's a nice summery look. And Cool Berry I really like too. So in order of preference for me, be Strawberry Dip, Cool Berry, then Petal Poppin. All right, moving on to my thoughts on the lip balm, or gloss balm. So this was my first time trying one of these, and I am wearing it on my lips right now. It's slightly sticky, not super sticky or anything, just You can see, you know, there's a little bit of, you know, stickiness there, but I like the way the gloss bomb looks. It's got a really high shine factor to it. It feels great on the lips, and it actually stays around, you know, a decent amount of time for a gloss. It's, you know, it's average staying power, but in particular, the one thing I don't like about it is the scent. It doesn't smell bad. It actually smells good. It's a very nice fruity scent, but I just would prefer it not to be there. So I'd rather it be an unscented gloss. And although it's not really sticky, I wish it was completely not sticky. So it's a little sticky, and I'd prefer that not to be there. This particular shade is Fussy, and I really like the shade. It pairs well with other things, works well as a topper. One other thing to note about this scent though is that it doesn't really fade. Like I'll still get like a whiff of it like after an hour. So if it faded at the beginning, I would prefer it. But overall, you can see that Fussy is kind of like a soft, dusty, rosy color, and there is some shimmer in there. And texturally, it's great. If it weren't for the scent, I would pick up more colors, but because I am just not a fan of having such a strong scent on my lip products, I don't plan on picking up any more of these. Now, my favorite item from Fenty is actually this mascara. And I don't know if the full size works as well as the minis, because sometimes the minis just always seem to work a little better. I don't know if it's because of the amount of air that gets to the product and so forth, but I don't, if you're like me, when you get a brand new mascara, sometimes it's actually better after you've been using it for a few weeks and it starts to dry up a little bit. And I feel like this one kind of starts off like that. It's already got that perfect texture, and it really does define your eyelashes. So I have it on my upper lashes right now, and this is really one of the first times that I've used a mascara that I don't feel like I have to go in with my Tweezerman eyelash comb, because I like my lashes to stay kind of separated and not super clumpy. And this gives some length, a little bit of volume, and obviously the black pigment. But if I want to make it more dramatic, you know, layering this on really does add a bit more volume, and it gives it, you know, a nice look. So I am really, really, really pleased with this mascara. I am not a huge like mascara person. I mean, I always wear it, but I don't really necessarily care so much which one I'm using, because a lot of them just seem pretty similar to me. But this one I really, really like. I didn't experience any flaking or anything with this, had no eye irritation, and you know, it's so easy to use. So here is the wand for this. So you can see it gets a little bit fatter in the middle. And actually this is not completely round. So if you look here, so right now it's held up vertically, but if I turn it here, then you have a thinner side. So it is like flat with the bristles coming out. And I don't know, I just, you know, I really like the actual formula of the product. So I thought it was really easy to use. And again, if I want to amp it up, I put on another layer or just layer it in spots, and it looks fantastic. So this was my favorite product from Fenty Beauty. So I hope this was helpful. If you are interested in seeing the cheek swatches, stay tuned. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day. Okay, so I'm applying the Fenty Cool Berry, and I'm using the Refer 17 brush, which is the foundation brush, and I'm just using a stamping motion. All right, so here it is applied before I soften out the edges. And next I am going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer in Light, and I'm using the Synergy Worker Fan Brush for this. Just gonna put some on first, right below the blush, and then I'm gonna kind of blend these edges together a bit. Okay, I'm just going to soften it a little bit more with some finishing powder. And I'm going to use the Guerlain Meteorites in Light. I'm going to use the Synergy Phase 1 brush. Swirl this in there. I like to stamp it on first before I go in and buff. So there is the cool berry after I kind of buff it in a bit. Okay, so this is the final look for today. So you can see that Petal Poppin gives just a really light, natural look to the cheeks. So it's a really light pink, and you can build it up and make it a little bit more vibrant, but it's still gonna be a pretty natural looking flush, which is great. It's a great everyday blush that you can just kind of throw on and just kind of make your cheeks look a little bit healthier, a little bit more vibrant. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope this was helpful. Any questions, comments, please leave them down below. And if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy.